Today we open a new chapter for Syria. Syria faces a colossal transition, and there are inevitable challenges with this. The transition is highly complex. Socio-economic distress, insecurity, political challenges are all interconnected. We are, Minister Al-Shaibani, fully aware of this, and you have a huge responsibility on your shoulders. But there is also immense hope after decades of brutal dictatorship and war. Hope for Syria, where all citizens can express their views freely without fear and enjoy safety and equal rights. For Syria, where people and businesses can thrive. For Syria, where conflicts are resolved by rule of law and justice, and not through fear or the barrel of gun. In this vein, I'm happy that today EU is pledging over €720 million for 2025. This will support the population inside Syria, as well as Syrian refugees and their vulnerable host communities in Lebanon, Jordan and Iraq. This is an increase of over €160 million from last year's pledge. We also pledge €750 million for 2025 for Syrian refugees and vulnerable host communities in Turkey. This conference is, of course, more than just pledges. Today, we send a message of collective support for a peaceful, inclusive, Syria-led and Syria-owned transition in Syria. Minister, we welcome the number of positive steps the transitional government took over the past 3 months. These include the agreement reached last week between the Syrian authorities and the Syrian Democratic Forces. This agreement is a major breakthrough. It could pave the way for increased stability and better future for Syrians. We strongly encourage parties to work on the implementation, and we are ready to support this. You also have a historic opportunity in the transition to tackle long-standing security threats, including chemical weapons and terrorism, including Daesh. We intend to support the deployment by the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons of a verification mission to Syria with €4 million. I urge others to do the same. Cooperation on the security and daily management of camps and prisons holding foreign terrorist fighters in northeast Syria also remains essential. The recent wave of violence has highlighted the fragility of this transition. We strongly condemn the attacks, particularly those targeting civilians. They must be addressed swiftly and decisively. We welcome the establishment of an independent investigative commission by the authorities, which must credibly investigate these acts. The existing UN Commission of Inquiry should be associated to these efforts. The EU is also a very strong advocate for civil society to be fully included in the transition process, which is essential for its success. I'm happy that today we are joined by several members of Syrian civil society. Justice and reconciliation are fundamental parts of transition. The people of Syria have lived through decades of horror. It's high time that all Syrians can live safely in peace. The EU will continue supporting UN accountability mechanisms and other transitional justice initiatives. Those responsible for war crimes and human rights violations over the past 13 years must finally be held accountable. There will be no peace without justice. Let us be clear. Not all parties want the transition in Syria to succeed. These parties include Daesh and Assad loyalists, but also Russia and Iran, who supported Assad's regime. We see malign attempts to derail the transition, be it by fueling violence or information manipulation online. We are hosting a conference on this topic on Wednesday. The recent violence in Syria is a perfect example of the dangerous consequences of this. External actors seek to manipulate the information environment to amplify tension between citizens and communities. And who really gains from this? Because the people of Syria pay for all of this with their lives. All actors, from the north to the south, from the east to the west, must respect the sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity of Syria. The path to peace, stability and prosperity for Syria requires the support and collaboration of all stakeholders, both within Syria but also beyond its borders. And at this critical moment in Syria's history, the EU is ready to play its part. Thank you.